30,784. That's how many blocks of netherrack I've mined. One of my favorite things to do in Minecraft is a mindless task while watching a movie or TV show. As of lately, that mindless task has been mining along chunk borders for ancient debris, so much that I was able to make 11 netherite ingots. I think it's about time that I finally upgrade my gear, but that would require a smithing template, and do you know where to get smithing templates? Bastions. And have I mentioned that I hate going into bastions before? Because I hate them. A lot. One wrong move and you have a bipedal pig charging at you with the strength of Monty from Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach before the catwalk incident. But, alas, it is time to be brave. It's time to take on a bastion and show those piglins why I am worthy of their gold and smithing templates. We're gonna take you and put you here. It already counts. Of course I made a little hut to hide in that I'll never use again. Am I so nervous? There it is. I'll never know it's coming. Of course, I dug a tunnel through the bastion and opened up the chests from below. That doesn't make me any less brave. Okay, nobody can get in? We're good? After going through 2 bastions, I left with 2 netherite ingots and 2 smithing templates, and most importantly, I left without losing my life. I may not be educated on all the different bastion types and the gold locations, but I am smart enough to know that tunneling through the bastion and closing myself in was the only chance I stood at making it out alive. I think it's safe to say that those piglins never saw me coming. Actually, I don't think they realized that their gold was even going missing. But lucky for me, I got out with 2 more netherite ingots, making 13 total, and I got 2 smithing templates that I have duplicated, so I now have a total of 13 smithing templates. So I think it's finally time that on day 838, we are finally upgrading our gear from diamond to netherite. I do look good in netherite, but you know what would look better? I don't know, maybe some amethyst armor trims? For now, I'm just using what I already have on hand. So we've got the coast trim on the helmet, leggings, and boots, and we're using snout on the chest plate. There's just something about wearing netherite armor that feels prestigious. And while we're on the topic of upgrading, I think it's finally time that we upgrade this whole village. It is long overdue. We've had some portions that have been a little neglected because I knew this episode was coming and I just wanted to wait until the time was right to finally transform this village. Now, this is going to be a 3-part series because typically I like to focus on one build per episode, but each part is going to have a handful of different aspects of the village that's getting updated. So today's episode is going to be focused on the animal barns. So we've got these structures for the animal farms in place, and all that's really left is just some detailing. So right now I'm going in and putting in the enclosures. So we're working with some fences to enclose these in, but you'll notice they're on top of a variety of leaves. So we've got mostly oak leaves in here and the occasional flowering azalea and mangrove roots. And then I'm going in and popping in some sea pickles just to kind of act as a buffer between the main path and then these fences, just to add a little bit of depth to the height changes. And then we've got some pens over here that you saw in the time lapse. So this one is going to be the cow stable, cow barn. And the main goal was just to have an open space for them to roam and then like a covered space so that there's a structure to go along with it. But it's pretty informal and pretty simple, and I mainly wanted to just have a place to keep them so that I could get them out of this pen that wasn't even meant to be a pen to begin with. And then over here we've got the chicken coop. So if you look closely, we've actually got a hopper in the corner, so I'm gonna put some chickens in there, and then we'll also have some free roam chickens. But that hopper leads into this barrel so that we can collect some eggs that we'll eventually use later when we're ready to make like some wither roses. That'll come in handy for those. And then over here we're going to do the pig barn. So I need to come in and add some more details and tweak some of these little moments right here. Like I need to bring this column all the way down to the ground, and then I think we're gonna make this look pretty muddy. But we have some varying sizes. So right now the cows are the larger of the group. We've got a smaller group for the chicken coop, but since they're smaller, it's going to be pretty proportional. But then the pigs are going to be even smaller because I need fewer pigs than anything else. I definitely don't really rely on pigs for like a food source. I rely on cows for leather. Chickens will be nice to have the eggs. Pigs are just more for show. And then down here, this is going to be the sheep coop. So I need to go in and finish adding the fencing up here so that we've got an enclosure. And then we've got the barn itself. So we're going to go ahead and start moving in all of these animals. And then we'll check back in to show like the interior of the sheep barn. And I do want to make note of the fact that I used the same design for the cow barn and then the pig barn, and I think the main goal here was just to kind of have some cohesive moments to tie each other into the other. But then I decided to vary it up with the chicken coop and the sheep barn. So these are just kind of like when you look at a distance, it helps tie in the different block palettes together. And then it also ties it in with some of these other builds. Like we've got the tough brick roof over here, and then of course plenty of oak throughout. So those ones stayed with the same block palette, same layout, pretty simple. But with them being in like a different formation as far as how the enclosures go, it adds some variety in that sense. So let's go ahead and get some animals moved in, and then we'll check back in and we'll give you a little tour of the interior of the sheep barn, which will soon be an automatic wool farm as well. So let's get going on the animal moving. So we've got all of the sheep moved in, but we do need to keep up with breeding them because I need to move at least 16 downstairs so that we can set up the auto sheep farm. So I've just been coming in. I think I started out with like 3 or 4 of these guys, and we are just trying to keep them breeding. All of the animal barns are set up and ready to be put to use. So we're gonna go through and do a quick little tour of what we've got going on and then show you through the auto wool farm. But real quick, I need to put that there, and I think there's probably a couple others I should go and put in later, but I will do that here shortly. So here is the cow farm. We just relocated most of the ones that were down there. There wasn't too much breeding that had to be done, and honestly I feel like this is probably, yes, that's a word, probably a little too many cows for this area, so we may be cutting down on those numbers here shortly. But I do kind of want to get like a proper leather farm, so maybe I'll do a hoglin farm in the future, but I really only use the cows for the leather at this point. And up here we've got the chicken coop. We've got plenty of chickens in there where they're laying eggs, and they are getting to work quickly. Okay, goodness, they really stocked up since I last checked there. So I've just been hatching these eggs in here as often as I can just to try and fill out this middle barn a little bit more, but they do like to gravitate around the corner at the trapdoors. They get a little confused. I don't blame them. It is a little confusing over there, but we just need to get... Okay, I guess you could be a free roam chicken. I just want a couple more chickens in here to free roam so that when they do gravitate towards those trapdoors, this still looks like it's filled out quite a bit. And then I will just be saving all these eggs for whenever I decide I need wither roses. And then heading this way, we'll head over towards the pig barn, and we did get some detailing done to the ground, so it looks a lot more muddy than the other two. And I think that this maybe could have a couple more pigs. Let's go ahead and make a couple more. But overall, I think this is probably a good size. And I don't need too many pigs, so I'm not planning on really growing these numbers, but it's good to have for show. I think it just does a good job at filling out some of this open space, taking up some more space without having to be like a massive structure, and it's a little more naturey, bringing the nature in. And again, pigs also have trouble with these trapdoors, like obviously all the mobs do, and it's quite irritating. And then over here, we've got some sheep going in here. We might get a couple more, and honestly may throw in a couple more colors as well. But overall, I think that the quantity is pretty good because there are also some that come to the inside as well, that they hang out back here. And down here is how we get to the wool farm. So we've got this set up and running. I've got the colored wool behind them in the back so I can tell, since they don't really show their color whenever they're sheared in here in Java. And then we've got every single color of the rainbow. And I do want to get some overflow chests going here for storage, but we're not at that point yet. So I'll probably add that in later once I need the extra storage. And then back here is just how you get to the farm part. Not super exciting, but we just got all the storage chests down here that are collecting all the wool. And it's just starting to get running. So we are about... it looks like most of these have about like 15 to 20. And then back up here, if you go up the ladder all the way to the top, we have just a hay bale pile, some decoration, a little workstation, and a bed up here along with a table. So just a small little mini base, a micro base, whatever you want to call it. I like throwing those in as often as possible because I very frequently will just be out and about and it starts to turn night and I'm just looking for whatever bed is closest. Now that is 4 animal pens down, but there's actually one other project that I want to get working on. I wasn't really planning on doing this, but it just kind of timed out and I ended up doing most of it on stream. So I wanted to share with you what we've got going on and what the plan is. In the last episode, we made this skeleton spawner farm that is disguised as a cabin at the base of this Cherry Grove mountain. And I'm really happy with how this turned out, but there is something else that I have worked on since then that hasn't made it in a video yet. We worked on it a little bit on stream, and then I worked mostly off camera to finish it up. But it's right down here. We've got a water elevator going in, and it's actually a double cave spider farm. So we've got this light switch up here so that we can get those cave spiders flowing in. And then there's another one right up here. This is within a mine shaft, so the placement just ended up being really lucky. But these guys will collect here, and then we've got some that collect down here, and then they're both connected to an auto sorting system that flows into these chests. So we've got plenty of string and spider eyes to go around, along with a handful of cave spider heads, and then just a simple enchanting setup. But other than that, this place is pretty minimal. I didn't really want to do too much in here because I didn't really plan on making it a part of the video, but it turned out a little better than I expected. I like the dual level, and then I ended up making this hallway down here that leads into a geode so that I can get amethyst, what are these called? The clusters and then the shards a lot easier. So we've got this going on, and maybe at some point I'll come in and make this a little prettier so it's not just some stone and dirt that's surrounding it. But I do want to go ahead and make a building just to lead into the entrance. Nothing too exciting, but just enough to cover the entrance in and then the exit so that I don't hop up in the middle of the night and get surprised by other mobs. So I feel like we should go ahead and just do something really quick out on the exterior, and maybe we'll pull in some of the amethyst blocks. We'll see. I don't have much of a plan for it yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and hop on a live stream and do something with that, and I'll check back in and show you what we've got. And I'm excited to see what we come up with, but I have enjoyed having this spider spawner farm as is. It's nice to have plenty of string and spider eyes. I don't really need the spider eyes too much, except for when I make the occasional splash potion of weakness for villager zombification and curing. But as far as string goes, that is something that's nice to have whenever you want to make a lot of candles or scaffolding. So I wanted to go ahead and make use of the double spider spawner and get a farm going so that we have that to access the supplies in the future. We got a structure in place to now act as the entrance to the cave spider spawner farm, and I really like how it turned out. I was in between ideas on what to build. Part of me was considering doing almost like a tower with an amethyst roof, but it just seemed like it would be very out of place because there's not a lot going on in this area, and I don't have plans to build out this way either. And with this being a more secluded cabin style house, I thought it would be nice to give them a horse stable to go with it, and it sticks within the theme of the other builds I had already done today. So this ended up being what we went with, and I really like just the way it's looking. I like this block palette. I've never really used the polished basalt before, but I've noticed on other builds that it looks like a really nice column. So we did that, and we've got some water, a water trough over here, and then just little decorative blocks here and there to help fill in some of these like blank walls that didn't really need much going on over them. So we just wanted to do something to give it a little bit more interest to the wall. And then inside we've got the horse stables themselves. So we've got a horse here, and then you can cross between the two, and then a horse here. And I have this set up where if I want to get them out, I can open these doors and trap doors, but if I just have one door closed, they can't sneak out on their own. So we've got that, and then all of these other horses that I went and ventured out to find and brought back. And I wanted to get one of about each color. I think the only one I'm really missing is a white horse, but I do have the gray. I've got light browns and dark browns, and then black. And then, yeah, I'll keep an eye out for some white horses and bring them back when I see them, but I didn't see any at all in my adventures to find these guys. And then just to get into the farm, it's right back here's the drop down. I'm not going to go down there again because it doesn't look any different than it did earlier, but that's the drop down, and then this pops you right back up. And that is all I've got for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed the builds. It's nice to get these kind of structures back in. I've actually never really done proper structures for all of these animals before, so this was new, but I like how they filled out the space. I typically try to do things that are like all a structure and very little landscaping like built in as like taking up a majority of the whole space. So this is a little different, and I really like the process, and I'll probably be incorporating a lot more of these in the future. Thanks for your patience on this video. It's a little delayed than I would have liked it to be, but with the holidays and everything, I didn't get as much time to spend on it daily as I typically would. But that being said, Happy New Year, and I hope you guys had a happy and safe New Year's and Christmas if you celebrate, and I'm really excited for what's to come in this year. So if you guys want to like and subscribe and join in on the fun, you can tune in and watch live on twitch.tv/madsbeef, and aside from that, you'll have a great rest of your morning, day, or night, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.